Welcome back to the Grenadier podcast, Real Estate Uncovered. Today I speak with sensation Sasha Coburn. She is business owner of Coffee Culture, a director and a motivational speaker. You obviously love this business. Tell me what you love the most about it. Today, an absolute exclusive. Welcome back to the Grenadier podcast, Real Estate Uncovered. Sasha, can you introduce yourself to us?
I certainly can, and I've been grappling with what do you most want to know, because I think how we introduce ourselves says a lot about who we are. And what we tend to do is we say, hi, I'm Sasha Coburn. I own and run with others Coffee Culture. We're a group of boutique coffee shops scattered throughout the South Island of New Zealand. We also have one in the North Island. I run a leadership development company with my colleague Tonya Kaywood. It's called The Company You Keep. I chair the board of Foster Construction in the Waikato Bay of Plenty, and I also work as a motivational speaker.
Yay!
But none of that really tells you who I am. Doesn't tell you about my role as a mum or as a daughter, or that I love all kinds of music. I love cheesy musicals. I love to sing. I love to dance. I love to eat. But that gives you a taste of who I am and what I'm about.
That is a fantastic introduction. I love it. Now, you work in leadership and motivational speaking. Tell us a bit about that.
So I've always been interested in what makes people tick and fascinated to understand how you can take a group of people and some of those people thrive at work, they thrive in their personal lives, they seem to have it all together and be successful, and other people who mean well and work hard don't seem to unlock the same levels of success. So from a leadership perspective, I've always looked at groups of people and saying, what do we need to do to make all of these people thrive and achieve their potential? And who do I need to be as a leader to unlock that?
So for those that aren't thriving, is it their belief structure? What is it?
I think it's different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things that real high performers have, which is an interesting paradox, is they have a paradoxical relationship with the truth. So what I mean by that is people who are high performers are not afraid of the truth of their own performance. So if you think about athletes that are getting data points every day, this is how fast you're running, this is how much VO2 max is improving or not improving, this is the muscle load in each of the exercises, and the data helps drive their decisions, and they don't shy away from that. They don't put their head in the sand and say, I'm faster than I am. And I think in a work context, a lot of people don't want to face the reality of what the data tells us. So for salespeople, they go, oh, it's a bit quiet in the market. And I say, show me your activity. Because the thing that you are in charge of is your activity. You can't control the external market, but let me see your numbers. And they will often say, oh, I don't want to show you my numbers. So the highest performers are unafraid of what the data tells them. Measure everything. So they want to know the truth of their performance. But the paradox comes in is that they don't accept everything as being real. So what I mean by that is high performers say, this is how I am going right now. These are the steps I'm going to take to improve. And I'm going to ignore the noise of people who say it can't be done. Because I'm going to choose to believe that while my stats say this today, tomorrow it's possible for a different outcome. So I think it's about being ruthless about how you are performing, but optimistic about what's possible.
Fantastic. I've never heard it explained that way, and I think that's amazing. So in terms of helping these high performers get even more out of their day, how do you go about doing that?
Well, unfortunately, success, in my experience, is incredibly boring. And I was going to segue to my husband, which sounds like I'm about to say that he's boring. And I don't mean that. What my husband has taught me is he's incredibly disciplined about how he goes about his everyday life. And his success is built on the back of that discipline. Now, the success that's come to me has been way more random and haphazard and all over the shop. Right? Oh, a bit of this, bit of that. But I'm learning that the replicable systems and the boring discipline of doing the same things day in, day out is often what leads to an extra level of success. And I think asking yourself, what are you willing to say no to? So there's this great myth, I think, that women in particular can have it all. You can have a successful career, a wonderful family, a big group of friends that you see, wonderful hobbies, bake bread from scratch. And I think, well, you can have all of those things, but not all at once. So you have to ask yourself, what are you prepared to give up? And in our family, as an example, my daughter, who's just turned 19, she carries deep scars of all the birthdays of hers that I've missed. And that's a choice, right? So I was pursuing speaking opportunities internationally, and those conferences are often in June. Now, my birthday and Portia's birthday are in June. And I have to say, am I prepared to not be at my daughter's birthday in pursuit of something that is fulfilling for me and my career, and that will also enable her to have dream holidays in Europe? So as she's got older, I've said, take your pick, honey. It was a choice. And some days she's like, I wanted you there. And on other days she's like, how good is the Eiffel Tower, Mum? So what are you prepared to say no to? What are you prepared to give up in order to pursue the success that you're after?
Yes, absolutely, because sacrifices need to be made, don't they? And it reminds me, my children used to say, well, they still remind me that I was late picking them up from school, and that's because I'm so optimistic about how much I can fit in my day and get to school by 3 o'clock, but I never got there till 3:20, and so they remind me of that, but I remind them of all the great things that have happened in their life too.
I mean, are they okay?
I think they're okay.
I mean, really, if the worst
they're both
thing,
functioning.
If the worst thing that's happened to you is your mum was working so hard that she was late to pick you up, you're lucky. You're lucky. Your kids are lucky. I hope they're listening.
Yeah, I hope they're listening
had
too.
a role model who was squeezing a ton into their day. Good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you help individuals and leaders keep on track?
I'm always up for discussions with people, but when I do any mentoring or any advice giving, I say to people, do you really want this? Are you really ready? Because I'm not the kind of coach that says, so Lisa, what do you think? Which is the technical and academic definition of coaching, is that you are asking questions to bring the best out of people. That's not the kind of coach or mentor that I'm able to be. It's not in my skill set. I'm like a bit of sandpaper that comes in and says, oh, or maybe think of me as like an exfoliator for your skin. We need to get rid of some of the dead stuff that's weighing you down, and that's a little bit more brutal in the approach. And I'm inclined to give advice. So if people say, here's my problem, I'll say, what have you done about it already? What avenues have you already explored? Okay, here's what I think. Now, my advice might not be the best advice for people. I find most people know what they need to do. They just resist doing it. All our good advice tends to go to someone else. So one of the reasons I love working with other people is I hear myself saying things to them. Oh, you need to do X. And as I'm saying it to someone else, I think, I should do that too. That's really solid advice.
I love that, because we teach what we most need to learn, right?
Yes.
So really you're coaching yourself through them.
I should be paying them
Yes.
instead of them paying me.
I love that your technique's quite unique, because often coaches are trying to invoke the answers out of their clients, whereas you're actually brave enough to get in the arena and give them some advice. So how does that go? What's the feedback been?
So I make sure people are up for it.
Yes.
To say, if there's lots of research in, I have a master's degree in education because I wanted to understand how do adults think and how do adults learn, particularly in the context of saying, how do you take average performers and turn them into high performers? What's going on in a person's brain that they will not take the action they know they need to take? So when I sit down with people and say, are you up for this? It's doing that check-in. Are you really ready to face some of these truths about yourself? And if they say yes, then we go, let's go. Because what the academic research tells us is that acceleration and immersion are the simplest ways to get ahead. So if you think about real estate as an example, I often come across people that are dabbling in real estate. And I'm like, oh, so you're dabbling in mediocrity and dabbling in what I think is certain failure. I don't think you can dabble in anything and be really successful. What you have to do is be immersed in it. When you go to swimming lessons, as an example, you don't sit in a classroom while the instructor gives you the theory of swimming. The first thing that kids do, babies do when they go to learn to swim classes, is we get them wet. And it's often good practice to go to swimming lessons every day in the school holidays to really get the results you need. You want to speak French? Go to France. Right?
Full immersion.
Get immersed in it. And the acceleration aspect is you can go further, faster, if you just compound some of the learnings. So in a coaching sense, it's about saying, I'm going to give you a whole lot of stuff. Now go away and go and do those things quickly and fast so you get some momentum.
And if they don't do them quickly and fast, does that mean that perhaps they're on the wrong track? How do you determine perhaps if they're in real estate, but that's not really their calling? Like, are there some things that you're going to have to be brutally honest with them about? How do you tackle that?
I think people need to be brutally honest with themselves.
Right.
It's not for me to say. And if you think back to what I was saying at the start about just looking at the data is telling you how good you are. Now,
Or not.
or not. And so what I love about sales data is you can say, I've got really good activity and I'm really good at having my first appointment, but I'm not so good at converting at that stage. So you can identify where your training needs are.
Yes.
If you say, everybody I go and have a meeting with, I'm having a really good success rate in getting them to list, but I don't have enough listings, that tells you need to do more activity at the front end. So it's really, no one in real estate should be confused about what they need to do next.
There should be total clarity around it.
Is that a fair call, do you think?
100% that's a fair call. But a lot of people like to make excuses.
Bless them. Good for them.
Yeah.
Most people are leading lives of quiet mediocrity.
Yeah.
I'm just going to jog towards my goals today.
Yeah.
People say to me, and I don't want to sound like I'm up my own ass, but they say, how do you get so much done?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you lie around all day? But in saying that, I have two speeds, on and off. So I am actually really good at lying around all day.
Yeah.
If it's a lying around all day
Kind of
day,
day.
right?
Yeah.
But you've got to compensate by that, by when you are on, being on.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of building resilience when there's change abounds, how do you help people navigate through some change?
I love this idea that comes from Dr. Stephen Covey, and he read it in Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, that in between stimulus and response, there's a gap. And we get to choose how we respond to every situation. Let me give you an example. I was struggling to get a park here, and a woman took the park that I was indicating for in front of me. And I had maybe 15 seconds of just rage, incandescent, inappropriate rage. What I have the ability to do now, I'm 50 and old and I've been practicing this for a while, is to say the stimulus is someone stole my park. Now I can either let that ruin my day and let that be the story of my life. Someone stole my park. Life's so unfair. I'm going to be late now. It's all everyone else's fault. Or I just put a gap in and say, before I respond, I have a choice. So my response, once I'd had a bit of reflection, was to say, she must really need to be somewhere in a hurry. I hope she gets where she needs to be. The reason I'm under pressure finding a park is I didn't leave early enough. And that's on me. That's on my preparation. It's not her fault that I didn't leave the building early enough to get here. So how can I improve in the future by being more organised, by being more on time? That's not about her. And my day's going to be better knowing that I hope she gets to where she needs to be. I'm here now. What a blessing that I've got a car. Some people don't have cars. I've got a car. Wow, I was born in a time where women are allowed to drive. This is incredible. I've got so much to be thankful for. So you choose your response to the situation. And I think that builds resilience, because sometimes when we get upset by what's going on around us, it's because we have these unrealistic expectations that life is going to deliver to us on a plate all of the success we want. And one of my favourite quotes is, you cannot complain about the results you do not get from the work you did not do. And I think when it comes to resilience, yes, we face disappointments, but our success in life is not measured by how many times we stand up or knock down. It's how we repeat that pattern. I get knocked down, I stand up. I get knocked down, I stand up. I get knocked down, I go again, go again, go again.
I think that's lovely. And the way I interpret what you're saying is the universe gives us every opportunity to stretch that muscle, to build that muscle, to say, do you really want it? And I think that gap you're talking about is self-awareness, right? And like you, I've made it into my 50s, and I think we have so much more self-awareness about ourselves and that feedback. So, but the value in coaching and seeing a mentor like yourself, just to reflect back and to be really brutally honest about, are we on the right path? Are we doing the things that successful high performers do?
Part of the reason for getting a coach is you need someone who believes in you even more than you believe in yourself. So I sound like a hard ass. In actual fact, the reason that I like being hard and challenging on people is I just see potential. We are all capable of so much more than we are doing. So my gift to people I work with is to say, I see what's possible in you. I see where you can go. Let's not piss around. Let's go there now.
Yeah.
And I think coaches aren't just, they give you the hard truth. They should also have your back 100% and see what's possible in you, even when you can't right now see it in yourself.
Yeah, what a beautiful gift you give to people. Thanks so much for sharing your expertise with us, Sasha.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Real Estate Uncovered. I hope you really enjoyed the show. If you did, please give us 5 stars and leave a review. This really helps others find our podcast.